Hello, everyone. I have a special story for us today. The name of our story today is Curious George Discovers the Stars. Have you ever wondered how many stars there are in the sky? George has, especially when he's in the country. In the country, the summer nights are cool. You can hear frogs croaking, and the sky is full of stars. One night, George was outside looking at the sky when he heard Bill's voice. "Hi, George. It's a great night for stargazing," Bill called from his window. But George wasn't just looking at the stars. He was trying to figure out how many stars there were in the sky. "There must be hundreds." "Not even scientists know how many stars are up there," Bill said. George thought it was time somebody found out. George knew the most important rule of counting anything was keeping track. He found a notepad and a pencil and made a mark for each star as he counted it. There were so many stars to keep track of, but he kept at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, but George fell asleep mid-count. That was okay. After a good night's rest, he would be ready to count stars again the next night. There was only one problem. His counting system didn't keep track of which stars he had already counted. So last night's count didn't count. George figured the only way he could count stars without losing track was to count all the stars really fast before he fell asleep. But George wasn't fast enough. Bill stopped by the following day. "Morning, fellas." The man waved, but George still felt sleepy. George was up late counting stars, the man said. "Too bad you can't count stars during the day. They're always up there, you know," Bill said. "We just can't see them because the sun is so bright." George wasn't so sure. He wondered what really happened to stars during the day. Maybe they went to sleep or got blown out like candles on a birthday cake. Wherever they went, George couldn't count stars he couldn't see. "There are lots of differences between the sky during the day and the sky at night," the man said. "We can see the moon and stars at night, but we can see the sun only during the day." "Right," said Bill, "because at night the sun is shining on the other side of the earth. When it's nighttime here, it's daytime there." When it came to day sky and night sky, George was sure about two things. He couldn't count stars during the day, and he couldn't count all the stars in one night. But he wasn't going to give up. George took a good long look at the night sky. The stars were scattered around like confetti, and like confetti, there wasn't a pattern to the way they were arranged. Unless George noticed a group of stars that looked familiar. They looked like a big upside-down cap. George could use this star shape as a placekeeper. He counted the stars below it and marked them on his pad. He counted the stars above it and on each side. George had a system. He could use star shapes to keep track of which stars he had already counted. When he got tired, he could go to bed and know where he left off for the next night's count. At the end of the week, it was time for George and the man to return to the city. George had made a lot of progress on his star counting, and now that he had a system, he could count stars in the city too. "Big hot city, here we come," the man said. The city was very hot. George couldn't wait to get into the cool air-conditioned lobby. But it was just as warm inside their building as it was outside. "Is the air conditioner broken?" the man asked. "No," said the doorman, "but we're not allowed to use it. You'll have to keep yours off in your apartment, too." George wondered why. "Too many air conditioners running at once uses a lot of electricity. It can cause the power to go out," the man said. "I guess we'll be a little warm tonight." But George wasn't worried about electricity or being too hot. He had stars to count. George knew he would have a great view of the sky from the roof. But when he got up there and looked around, he noticed something strange. In the city, he couldn't see any stars at all. George went back to the apartment to see his friend. It's tough to count stars in the big, bright city, the man explained. George was confused. It's like trying to count stars during the daytime. They're up there, but we can't see them because of all the city lights. With no stars to count, George figured he might as well go to bed. But it was too hot to sleep. The one time he could have stayed awake all night long to count, he couldn't see a single star. George took a walk onto the balcony. His neighbors had their air conditioners on. George could hear them humming. Would it really hurt if he turned their AC on just for a minute? The cool air felt good on George's face. But a moment later, the AC and all the lights in the apartment went out. George ran back up to the roof. Uh-oh, the lights were out in all the buildings around them. Could one curious little monkey cause a city blackout? George didn't know, but there was only one thing to do at a time like this: hide. Before long, the man found George in his hiding spot. George was upset about turning off the city's electricity. It wasn't your fault, George, the man said. It takes more than one little monkey to cause a blackout. Just then, the doorman and Hunley joined them on the roof. This blackout's really something, isn't it? The doorman asked. Yes, the man said, but George thinks the blackout was his fault. He turned on our air conditioner. I thought it was my fault, too, the man said. Hunley was so hot, I turned on our AC for just a minute. Then all the lights went out. I bet a lot of people thought the same thing. George was relieved. Well, George, there's one good thing about this blackout. Now you can see the stars. It was true. Now that all the electrical lights were out and the city was dark, he could see the sky full of stars again. George found the big upside-down cap and settled in for a good, long star count. The end. And we are going to make a constellation stargazer today as a special craft. So let's head over to the art table. Well, here we are at the art table, and I have a paper cup, and I also have a thumbtack. If you don't have a thumbtack, you could still do this activity with a sharpened pencil. All right, so I'm going to turn the cup upside down like this. And then if you want to, you could make a picture like this. This is the Big Dipper. And you could put it here, and you could actually just poke right where you see those star dots. Or you could just poke all around on the bottom. This one is one that I just poked lots and lots of holes everywhere. And if you'd like to, you can even add some star stickers to the side. Now, I'm going to come back around and we're going to try this stargazer out. Well, I've turned off almost all the lights. I have one more light to turn off. But don't worry, I have a flashlight, so it won't be completely dark. We need it to be dark because we're going to shine or project the stars onto this black piece of paper. So let me turn off one more light. Okay, so don't worry, it's not scary. I have a flashlight. So I'm going to take our little stargazer and I'm going to shine my light into the bottom of the paper cup and take a look right here on this paper. Let me get the camera to focus. There it comes. Okay, now let me try it. Look, I can see the Big Dipper constellation. Now let's try the cup that we just poked lots and lots of holes in. Oh, look how pretty. Look at all the stars. And if you want to, it's really cool if you project them up on the ceiling. That's a lot of fun. Look at all those stars. Very, very cool. So we made a fun little star projector. Well, I hope you had a great time today, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone. Have fun looking at the stars.